Imagine a giant village market, not a small one, a world market. Traders come from everywhere. Europe, China, India, the Gulf, Africa and Latin America. Everyone brings something. Oil, machine, food, medicines, phones, ships and metals. But there is a problem. The Indian trader has rupees. The Japanese trader has yen. The Brazilian trader has real. The Turkish trader has lira. And nobody fully trusts everyone else's money. Not because they are bad people, but because currency value changes. Governments change rules. Banks block payments. Some currencies can crash in weeks. So the market needed one common coupon that everyone accepts. And for the last 70 years, that coupon has been the US dollar. For most people, the dollar looks like just another currency. But in the real world, the dollar became something bigger. It became the language of global trade. It became the savings account of nations. It became the highway that most international payments travel on. That's why the dollar system didn't feel like power. It felt like infrastructure, like roads, like electricity, like the internet. In our village market story, the American trader wasn't just standing there with coupons. He had three big advantages. First, trust. If a country has extra money, it needs a safe place to park it. The world parked that money in US government bonds called treasuries. Because they are easy to buy, easy to sell, big market, deep market. Meaning, if you have billions, you can move it without the price changing much. Most countries don't have that kind of financial depth. Second, the gas station rule. For decades, the world's biggest gas station, oil exporters, priced oil mainly in dollars. So even if you didn't love the dollar, you still needed it because energy runs everything. Third, the pipes. Even if two countries wanted to trade with each other, the money often moved through US-linked banking pipes. So the dollar wasn't only money, it was the global payment plumbing. And because everyone used it, it became self-reinforcing, like English. Even if it's not perfect, it's the language most people already speak. So the world stuck with it. Here's the key point. The system worked. This system gave the world something valuable. It made trade easier. It lowered friction. It allowed global growth at scale. Even enemies could trade through the same currency system. It wasn't just about American power. It was also about convenience. But every system has one hidden weakness. If the entire market depends on one coupon, one highway, one manager, then the whole world becomes dependent on one center. And the moment the center feels political, trust starts to crack. The moment everything quietly changed, 2022. This is where the story turns. In 2022, Russian foreign reserves were frozen. Now, don't get stuck on whether Russia was right or wrong. That's not the point here. The point is what the world learned from the event. For decades, central bank reserves were seen as untouchable, like money kept in a neutral vault. But suddenly, the message was clear. Even reserves can be blocked. Even sovereign savings can be frozen. And from that day, a silent question entered every finance ministry and central bank in the world. If this can happen to them, can it happen to us? Once that question enters the room, it never leaves. Because trust is not a switch. Trust is a feeling. And when the main highway can be blocked, people don't protest forever. They quietly start building side roads. That is what is happening now. Not collapse, not revolution. A backup plan, a redundancy system, a shadow pivot. The big mistake people make about de-dollarisation. Most people hear de-dollarisation and imagine drama. They imagine the world dumping dollars overnight. They imagine the dollar collapsing. That is not what's happening. The world is not throwing away the dollar. The world is doing something more realistic. It is reducing dependency on a single point of failure. This is not ideology. This is engineering. If your entire house depends on one electric line, what do? You install a generator. Not because you hate the electric company, because you want survival. That's the mindset now. What does the shadow pivot look like? Here's why people miss it. Because it doesn't appear like a headline. It appears like plumbing, quiet agreements, new payment corridors, new settlement systems, gold in vaults, local trade deals, digital rails. None of this looks dramatic, but together it slowly changes the world. Let's break it down simply. 1. The world is building side roads for payments. In the old system, if Thailand wanted to trade with Brazil, the easiest route was Thai currency, dollar, Brazilian currency, through banks that clear in the US financial system. That system worked brilliantly, until access became geopolitical. Now, countries are building direct corridors, like rupees to dirhams, yuan to rubles, reais to rupees. Sometimes it's clunky, sometimes it's slow. But the direction matters. And there's another layer. New digital settlement rails are being tested. Systems that allow direct settlement without touching the traditional pipes. For common people, think of it like this. Old world, one big highway with toll gates. New world, multiple smaller highways with local tolls. The big highway still exists. But now, the world is building alternatives. 2. The world is changing what it saves, reserves. This is the second big layer. Central banks hold reserves like a family keeps savings. But now, they're not only asking, how much return will I get? They're asking, can this savings be blocked? And that question is why gold is back. Gold is not rising because central banks are nostalgic. Gold is rising because gold has no manager, no issuer, no software update, no bank that can block it, no off switch. Gold is not high-tech. But it is politically hard to freeze, so in a world where financial access can be revoked, gold becomes insurance. That's why central banks have been buying so much of it. This is not just inflation fear, it's sanctions insurance. 3. The trade problem, the surplus trap. There's a practical reason the shift is slow. If India buys oil from Russia in rupees, Russia ends up holding rupees. But Russia can't use rupees everywhere in the world. So trade imbalances build up. This is why local currency trade is harder to scale globally. So what's the workaround? Countries use a balancing asset. Sometimes gold, sometimes another currency, sometimes special clearing arrangements. This is why the shift is slow. It's not a speech, it's plumbing. The truth, there is no new dollar ready. Now let's be honest. There is no perfect replacement for the dollar today. The euro has political limits. The yuan has capital controls. A BRICS currency is politically difficult. No one has markets as deep and liquid as US treasuries. So the future is not one king replaced by another king. The future looks more like one king still sits on the throne, but the kingdom starts using other roads too. This is the most important idea. Finance and trade are splitting. This is where the world is going. The dollar remains dominant in global finance because debt markets, treasuries and liquidity are still unmatched. But trade is becoming more multipolar. Energy pricing is slowly diversifying. Commodities are being settled regionally. Bilateral corridors are growing. So what emerges is not a revolution. It's a layered system, a system with backups. The irony: the dollar is spreading through stablecoins. Here's the twist most people don't expect. While governments reduce reliance on the dollar system, regular people in many countries are using the dollar more than ever. Not through banks, through stablecoins. In inflation-hit places, USDT and USDC behave like digital dollars. That is shadow dollarization. The dollar unit survives, but the dollar banking system loses control. This is why the future is complex. The world may reduce dependence on US-controlled rails, while still using the dollar as a unit of value. So what does this mean for normal people? This matters because when a system shifts from efficiency to redundancy, costs rise. Trade becomes slightly more expensive. Supply chains become more regional. Some prices may become more unstable. And geopolitics starts affecting daily life more. But the upside is, one country becomes less able to unplug another from the global economy. The world becomes less fragile, less dependent on a single center. More complicated, but potentially more stable. This is not a crash. It is not the end of the dollar. It is a controlled migration. The world is not abandoning the dollar. It is building a backup. Migrations change history more deeply than revolutions, because revolutions are loud, but migrations rewrite the system quietly. So the next time you hear someone say, "The dollar is finished," or someone else say, "Nothing is changing," remember this: the truth is in the middle. The dollar is still king, but the world is quietly building other roads. That is the shadow pivot. Thank you for watching. If this inspired you, hit subscribe, like, comment and share. Be part of our journey. Beyond identities, beyond borders, beyond division, our destiny is one. You are watching Next Horizon Global.